The gods have abandoned me. Now there is no hope. The first 10 words, unless you count the intro video because I can't remember what was in it, that started off arguably Sony's biggest franchise of the past decade. And I can legitimately say decade because a few weeks back was the 10th anniversary of the US and I guess first global release of God of War 1. Now, thankfully, due to complete problems with games coming out at the same time across the world, the 10th anniversary for Europe, so for me, isn't actually till July. And the game didn't come out in Japan, I believe, until November time-ish. But yeah, 10 years that this has been around. It has spawned 6 games, 3 numbered sequels, because you can classify this as number 1. God of War Ascension, which was a prequel to everything. And then the 2 sort of spin-off titles that came out originally for PSP, and then I think got Vita ports and also PlayStation 3 ports. Ghost of Sparta and Chains of Olympus. I can't remember what the order is because I always get convoluted over that. I think Ghost of Sparta is supposed to be the one between before God of War 1, and then Chains of Olympus is the other way. I don't know. I can't remember. All I remember is this being bloomin' awesome. Main reason, just as it was so refreshing to have sort of an action adventure thing. I guess the only thing that we could complain about this one is this was the thing that started practically every game, including, I think, half of the games that have come out in 2015, have QuickTime events aplenty. You know, when you did it in this game and took out the major enemies with QuickTime events, especially the bosses, but also with some of the minion sort of like enemies, it was really nice and fun to sort of do that sort of thing. The problem is, because of how well God of War 1 did, and obviously it had a right to continue it in the upcoming titles, you saw it come to prominence too much. Case in point, as I say, Dying Light, QTE heavy, including a final boss battle. The Order, 1886, Sony exclusive. I mean, okay, it's not from. It's published on a Sony platform, but it's not obviously a Sony game like Sony Santa Monica is that developed the God of War series. But that's QTE heavy, final QTE boss battle. There's QTEs from out of nowhere in Battlefield Hardline. Just Bayonetta QTEs in it quite a lot. Now, that's the only negative thing we can take from the success of this franchise. And that is QTEs. Whoa! It's a shame I can't put annotations like press X to dodge, because that's what I should have done. That's too complicated. Also, because the X is probably copywritten, I probably can't put it up. But even with the first one, I'm trying to get the voice cast, because they are listed in here somewhere. I vaguely remember seeing it. And of course now I can't find it. They were listed because I swear one of them, the voice of the Gravedigger in it, was clearly the guy that did Colonel Roy Campbell. in the games of games. I thought it was listed in here. Apparently it isn't. It's just in the main credits, but not in the normal credits. Oh no, it will be. Somebody will have put it on Wikipedia. Quick to the tablets. But yeah, the first God of War was just fun, with the whole aspect of you being able to take on the gods, sort of channeling a little Clash of the Titans. That probably is why the Clash of the Titans franchise suddenly came back, because this game did well. Because I think, and also God of War came out a couple of years before 300. Before all this Greek epicness really came into fashion. Because let's be honest, Troy wouldn't have been a very God of War-like game, because it was a bit too Orlando Blue, shall we say. I don't know whether AJ and Owen will attest to that, but that's my opinion on the matter. So, the first game itself was just really nice. The whole the opening scene with the Hydra, like really sort of dumping you right in at the deep end, was just, I don't want to say beautiful, but it was. It was the first time you saw it, and at that time, the graphics for then were probably pushing the PS2 to its limit, pretty much. And it's just, I can't say enough about it. I was like, the gameplay, going through, meeting all these gods, the whole aspect of trying to get Pandora's box from the Titan, which apparently, according to the developer stuff, there was going to be a whole thing where you actually climb up the Titan in sort of gameplay style to actually get there. Just looking at the voices. Oh, T.C. Carson was Kratos, who was a great job. The Gravedigger was Paul Lading. Can't remember if that was him in. It certainly sounds like him from Metal Gear. Hades was Nolan North. See, that man gets around. Let me check. Paul Lading, who was also the voice of Zeus, because that's it. Yeah, he was Roy Campbell in the Metal Gear series, which is always important. And having that all in, I'm trying to think, what was it, Kronos that you had to climb up. There was an actual bit where you would climb up Kronos for about 20 minutes. I guess very similar to sort of the not to the same extent, but the ladder that you had to climb up for ages in order to progress to. Well, there was a big long ladder in Metal Gear Solid 3 and 4, I think, but mainly 3. Mainly 4. There's a long ladder to suggest it's been a long journey. I think that was the whole idea that they were going to do themselves in the original game. They ditched it, sort of thankfully, because it would have really broken up the flow of play. It's alright to do small sections like they were in the game, but a whole big lengthy one would have been a bit annoying. So the fact that they cut it down was pretty nice. There was some nice little puzzles in it as well. And then obviously getting the box, or trying to get it, Ares does the whole pwned thing of throwing, I guess, a tree, a la a spear, and basically killing Kratos and sending him to hell. And then Kratos escapes from hell. Yep, not even hell can stop this man. Okay, possibly with an assistance from certain gods, i.e. the guy that voiced Zeus also voiced the Gravedigger, which, if you look into the novels that apparently that I need to buy, it's heavily hinted at that the Gravedigger basically is Zeus, because he realizes Ares needs to be taken care of. And, you know, that was brilliant, and obviously everybody pretty much knew that that would mean that there would be a sequel. Thankfully, of course, there was. If I can get it, in God of War 2. Now, this one obviously follows on from the first. Spoilers, Kratos becomes the new God of War. And sort of by doing it, basically, is showing that he's so powerful that he could encompass all the gods. So basically, they're getting worried. And then, so we get to the first sort of mission comes to Rhodes, and Kratos having to take out this giant colossus. And once again, as the opening boss fight, this is just like, boom, mind blown sort of thing. Sort of incredible. It's just, oh, it's bloody nice. He's doing all this stuff, and yeah, he beats the Colossus, but Zeus comes down and kills Kratos, basically, because Kratos is just attacking everything because he's still having the trauma of having lost his wife and his kid by his own hand, thanks to the perversion of Ares from the first game. So then you have Pegasus, you have, you know, other boss battles, you know, Prometheus. Then you have the Titans sort of getting involved, like Gaia and Kronos and everything like that. And it is brilliant, and it's just a great, both are great stories. These are the only ones I can talk about personally, because they're the ones that I played. God of War 3 pretty much picks up where 2 left off, and everybody turns against you, even the Titans. And in the end, pretty much, well, I can't remember, obviously you killed a Minotaur in 1, and I can't remember who else you killed in 2, but practically by the end of 3, every god is dead. There are no gods left. And even Kratos is basically left for dead, and then they do the little tease as if to say, oh, or is he dead? And then the next game that comes out in the main franchise, Ascension, is sort of a prequel to everything. So then gets even more confusing, which is always nice, I guess. I don't want the God of War collection, I want God of War 3. Oh, I guess God of War 3 remastered. Yeah, because this is sort of what they announced on the 10th anniversary. God of War 3 is getting why it needs a remastered version, even though it came out practically 5 years ago to the day of God of War 1 coming out, 10 years to the day of it. So yeah, Ascension, if I can find it, not even listed. Wow, they really like the when they bring up the God of War series, Ascension sort of is buried away. That's nice. Where is Ascension? I'm trying to look for it. Or is it not in the... Hang on. The main trilogy. This is getting confusing. There's God of War Ascension. So I'm just having a quick look through. So the God of War Betrayal came out for mobile phones, which I think you can still get sort of the ROMs for online, which is a 2D side-scroller, and sort of told the story between Ghost of Sparta and 2, from what I can tell. And it's just a simplified sort of game. So Chains of Olympus was taken before God of War 1 during his service to the gods, and then when you sort of get the basically him taking out more gods and everything. Ghost of Sparta, which actually came out after God of War 3, telling the story between God of War 1 and the mobile game. So I wouldn't say the mobile game is imperative. And it's all about Thanatos, the god of death, basically being twisted and managing to take and manipulate Kratos with supposedly, well, he thought dead, but actually very much alive brother, Deimos. And then, yeah, God of War Ascension is set pretty much straight after he killed his wife and kids, and that the Furies have taken him. So really it's not to do with the game, but it's still been a good franchise. The Ascension thing with the whole winding back time in order to create platforms and whatever is very much, even though that came out in 2013, that's what we've seen that's come out so far for Quantum Break, the new game from Remedy. It looks to be very much, you need to control time or uncontrolled time in order to get along certain places, and because there's rifts in time and things like that. It's just a nice little feature, and just the whole story of this one guy who became bound to the gods just because of his loyalty to Ares, now pretty much has destroyed all the gods. It is understandable why people want to see the franchise continue. Obviously, looking at it, it seems pretty tough to. To be honest, they left it open with the first one, because they actually, even in the first game, if you manage to get one of the secret endings, they teased the fact that Kratos might actually be related to Zeus. It's even teased in there. It was officially sort of confirmed in the second game, but not really, only as a side sort of secret ending in the first one. But the best bit about that first one, at least in the American terms, was the secret joke. So, for those of you who haven't, and those of you that have a copy, once you beat Ares, you try and fall off the cliff, like is shown in the opening intro. But you get rescued, and basically you don't, it's not your right to die yet. You've got to ascend the throne because we need a new God of War. If you go up the throne, before you get to it, before the set of stairs that actually come up to it, there are two giant sort of statue figures. One of the Minotaur and one of Ares. Now, although it takes a while, it is possible, using your blades or whatever you want, to actually destroy both of the statues. when you did so, and this is from the US point of view, a number showed up, which I think was a 1-800 number. I'm not entirely sure, because in the version on here, a video just played, sort of chronicling the thing. But I guess because they didn't want to get a phone line set up for the UK and Europe or whatever. What it was is you rang it up, and David Jaffe, the creators, basically on the line, saying, "Wow, you got the secret ending. That's pretty nice." And then all of a sudden, Kratos is like, "What is this?" And kills David Jaffe. And it was, only on a phone line, except for us in the UK, in which they took like the normal recording of it that was actually done, played over the phone line, so you could hear it in all crystal quality. Which it's nice that they kept the Easter egg in for Europe, even though it was in a different form. And that's sort of why I like this as well, that there is that Easter egg that, because looking at it, at the time, the whole idea was if you destroy things, you get red orbs. And I noticed that I hit it one time and noticed that it sort of shook. So I thought, well, that's clearly got to be somewhat destructible, because previously, when there were things that were destructible in the environments, they actually shook a bit if they took more than a few hits. There were quite a few statues littered around that did that sort of thing. And then looking into it, I found out, yeah, there is a secret if you destroy them. But they have, like, health of 9,999, or the equivalent of, which means you need to hit it 9,999 times. And it took a while, over the space of, I can't even remember. It was probably half an hour to an hour working on them both. And then finally getting and seeing the video coming up saying, hey, you found the secret. And obviously by doing that, when you finish the game, you get the secret with the revelation of Zeus might be Kratos' dad. And I just felt sort of proud of doing it, because there's no way to get it via cheats. The only way you can see that ending is by destroying the things. And it was exhausting after having gone through an Ares fight, but it's just nice to see. Although I don't understand why the third one is getting a remaster, looking at the price of all the games, if you've got a PS3, or if you haven't, I'm pretty sure you can get one cheap now, because they're going to be pushing PS4s all the way. See if you can get the God of War, I think it's the God of War Complete Collection. I'm not entirely sure exactly what it's called. God of War Amazon. Yeah, that's what I want to look at. I think it's called, yeah, the God of War Saga on PS3. It's roughly about, I think, £20, $30, depending where you are. But it includes the God of War trilogy and also the 2 PSP games. For getting 5 games for the same amount of money as, let's say, probably the Order 1886 is worth, it's a good deal. If you wanted to add Ascension to that, it seems to be in or around the £10, $15 to $20 mark on top of it. So then you got the entire franchise. Plus, then you don't even need God of War 3 Remastered. Unless, of course, they do bring that out eventually on... Yeah, sorry, I should have thought about that. That's blatantly going to happen, isn't it? We're blatantly going to have them come out. Nah, well, crap. But, yeah, if you haven't played this series yet, get a cheap PS2 and get one. Get a PS3. I don't think it's playable on the PlayStation TV or Vita. Oh, no, actually, no. I think it would be playable on the Vita because God of War 1 and 2 did come out for the Vita. And, obviously, through the PSP back catalogue, you can play the other... So the only one that isn't is God of War 3. Which, you know, whatever. Whatever it is, I still say the first two that I've personally played are really nice. So, happy birthday, Kratos, I guess, or something. I wonder why it's an 18 certificate. What does it say? Contains strong bloody violence. What about the sex?